Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel Black Cats Pilates. I'm Sarah. So today is part 2 of the 3-part beginner series that I'm working on. This is all about beginner progressions. So this routine should last about sort of 15 minutes. It's going to be exactly the same as last week's routine but with some extra movement. So we're going to try and progress the exercises a little bit, make them a bit more challenging. So if you haven't done part 1 yet, I highly suggest that you do that one first so that you can familiarize yourself with the exercises and then you'll be ready to progress when you do this routine. Also, I've done another video on the Pilates ABC. So that just stands for alignment, breathing, and core. I'll put a link to these videos in my description box below. So do the ABC one first. It takes 5 minutes and it shows you how you should be holding your body and how you should engage the core and how we breathe in Pilates. So really useful and you'll be at an advantage if you do that. All right, so we're going to make a start. We started standing last week, so we're going to do the same again. So I'll see you there in just a moment. All right, so we're going to start standing just like we did in part 1, but this time at the middle of the mat. So we'll stand with the feet hip width apart, relax our arms by our sides, find neutral. Okay, so we're really lengthening through the spine, chin level with the floor, and the crown of the head is facing the ceiling. Just a couple of exercises to warm us up. Before we do though, let's engage the all-important core. Of course, we do this on an out breath. First of all, let's take a nice breath in through the nose. Now when you exhale through the mouth, you're drawing your tummy button in and the pelvic floor muscles, you're going to squeeze them up in the direction of the ribs. Okay, so now we've got full core activation. You're going to try and hold your core muscles in place as we do this. Now, last week, our first exercise was lazy thoracic twists. So this was very gently turning the ribs from side to side, just letting your arms naturally swing from side to side. Okay, but this time we're going to do our thoracic twists with a bit more control. So if you place your palms together and place the thumbs against your breastbone, shoulders back and down, you're going to keep your nose in line with the fingertips, but all importantly, you're going to keep your pelvis really still. So the hips are going to keep facing forward throughout this exercise. Okay, so on your next out breath, gently turn your rib cage to the left, face forward to breathe in, exhale to the right. And that's all there is to it. So it's quite a tiny movement, really small range of movement. You're just trying to turn the ribs without turning the pelvis. So lots of precision and control. We're just going to do this a couple more times. Okay, so one more in each direction. Exhale, turn. Inhale to face forward. And now you can just relax your arms. We're going to give the shoulders a gentle roll so there's no tension build up. And now we're going to take ourselves to the end of the mat again. So just like part 1, but this time we're going to do some roll downs with a bit of a difference. So feet hip width apart. Let's find neutral. Draw the navel in again. Remember, give the pelvic floor muscles a squeeze up. So we've already got our core engaged. Let's turn our attention to the knees. You're just going to bend them slightly. So when you look down, your knees are behind your toes. You've got your heels down, but try not to flex your spine. Okay, I want you to try and keep that nice and straight or neutral. And you can just relax your arms. Okay, now we're going to be rolling down toward the floor. So unpeeling the spine. Remember, keep the navel drawn in. I say that all the time, so I want you to protect your lower back when you do this. Okay, so let's take a breath in. And then exhale, you're nodding your chin to your chest, letting your arms dangle. See if you can come down to the floor with the fingertips. Top of the head is facing the ground, so you've still got a bend at the knee. Now take a breath in at the bottom, and then exhale, draw your navel up, and restack the spine, keeping the legs in the ski position, so a little bit of a bent knee here. Shoulders back and down and arms relaxed. Good. Now the progression here is to do this with our arms raised. Okay, so arms up by your ears. Let's take a breath in. Exhale, scoop the navel in and round the upper back. Gently come down to the floor with the fingertips. Keep the knees slightly bent. And then we're going to roll up back to neutral. Reach our arms up, legs still in that same position. All right, last time. Let's breathe in. Exhale, rounding the spine slowly down. Pop your hands toward the floor. And then you're very gently going to pop your hands down and walk forward, coming down onto the knees into an all fours neutral position. All right, so make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders, knees beneath the hips, and we've got a lovely lengthened and neutral spine. We're looking directly at the floor below, so you've got your head in line with your spine as well. Now let's just do a little bit of flexion and extension of the spine using the cat and cow technique like we did in part 1. So let's take a breath in first, and then on your exhale, you're tucking your tailbone under, drawing the navel up, pressing the floor away from you and nodding your chin to your chest. And then we inhale to lift the tailbone, let the ribs sink down, and then gaze up. So we'll go again. Lead with your tailbone as you flex the spine. We're going into our cat. And then lift the tailbone. You're going into your cow nice and slowly and looking up. But we're going to come back to neutral and just change the exercise just slightly. And now we're going to pay attention, or more attention, to the pelvis. So you can ignore your upper body here. Let's keep the navel drawn in. Now you're going to tuck the tailbone under just like you did before, but this time you're going to take your hips to the left. Okay, and now you're going to lift the tailbone as you breathe in, go over to the right, and then tuck the tailbone back under again so you're back at your start position. Then you're going to go the other way. So to the right, lift the tailbone as you go left, and tuck it back under again. So we've got these opposite circles with the tailbone. So still extending the spine here and flexing it here. You're just getting a bit more range of movement, and we're just relaxing the spine, loosening things up. Brilliant. Just one more in each direction. Brilliant. And then we're going to come back to neutral and sink back into shell. So reach your arms out in front of you, turn the palms up, relax your head down, and just take a moment to take a couple of nice deep breaths in and out, because we're going to come back up into an all-fours neutral right now. Okay, so when you're ready, onto the hands and knees. Remember, a nice lengthened spine, shoulders back and down, and then we're going to go for Superman. So make sure you're somewhere around the sort of the center of your mat, because we're going to be sliding arms and legs forward and backwards. So we've got to keep the spine, or keep the back nice and straight like the top of a table. And if you remember, you're sliding opposite arms and legs away from each other. So your arm goes forward, leg goes back, and we're alternating sides. So it's opposite arm and leg, alternating sides, keeping the back absolutely still. So use your core, that's going to help you to balance. But the progression is to slide and now lift. Tap down and return. So slide, lift, tap down, return. Exhale, slide and lift. Inhale to return. So same rule, keeping your back absolutely still. So make sure you keep your navel drawn up, head in line with the spine. So when you raise your leg, you're feeling the squeeze down the back of it, into the glutes, and you're not dropping your tummy. Because if you do that, you're going to tweak your lower back, and we want to make sure we keep the pelvis really still and in neutral. Okay, last one. And then you can pop your hand and knee down, sink back in shell, and reach forward again. Just relax your head. Big deep breaths, get your breath back, keep that oxygen flowing. And now we're going to come down into prone. Okay, so onto your tummy. As it goes steady on your way down, relax your legs behind you. Now you're going to interlace your fingers, place the forearms down. You can pop your forehead on the back of your hands. I'm just going to keep my head up so that I can speak to you properly. But let's just engage the core before we do anything. So to do that, we're lifting the tummy button up off the floor and towards the spine. Make sure you keep your legs nice and relaxed. We're going to have a go at the chest lift, because this is what we did in part 1. So all it is gently raising the chest up so your forearms come off the floor, and then back down. So you can exhale to lift, and then exhale lower. So you'll need to take a sip of air in between each movement. But try and relax the legs, keep the tailbone tucked under and the navel drawn up. Now the progression here, we're going to bring the legs in. So just relax your head and shoulders, but part your feet. You're going to take them to the corners of your mat. Let's make sure we maintain pelvic stability and in a neutral position here as well. So keep the navel drawn up. And every time you raise your chest, you're going to raise one leg. You can start with whichever leg you like. But we're going to come up, raise one leg, and then bring it back down. And then repeat opposite leg. So keep your feet apart toward the corners of your mat. Nice and gentle on the way up so you're not jerking your body. And now we're working the posterior chain. So spinal extensors, glutes, hamstrings, and calves. Last couple. And last one. Okay, let's pop our hands under the shoulders, slowly come up into all fours, but then you're going to sit back on your heels, just stretch out the lower back of the hips and the glutes. Breathe nice and deeply. Just give yourself a bit of relief, bit of a relax. And then if you can just walk your hands towards your knees, you're going to come to kneeling. Now we're just going to turn to face one end of the mat. Make sure you shuffle towards that end because we're going to roll back into supine. Do a little bit of work on our backs. So feet down on the floor. Let's sit nice and tall. So find neutral again, shoulders back and down. You should be on your sit bones, those little bony parts underneath the glutes. Hold the back of your knees, chin level with the floor. Okay, let's breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. We're coming off the sit bones slowly, lowering the ribs toward the hips. We'll lean back, let go of the legs. We're coming into full body stretch. So you can reach your arms overhead, lengthen through the legs, and then flex your ankles to give your calves a nice little stretch out. Now, if you just place your arms by your sides, palms down, pop your feet on the floor, making sure the knees and feet are hip width apart again. So we're back into that crook position. Just relax your shoulders. Good. Now with your hands, or with your arms rather, just take them away from your body slightly. Make sure you keep the back of your upper arms in contact with the floor because we're going to go up into shoulder bridge. So we're going to need support of the shoulders and the arms to help us. Now let's take a deep breath. Then exhale to tuck the tailbone under, lift the pelvis, roll up slowly through your spine toward the shoulders. And then we breathe in as we roll back down and relax the pelvis. We're just going to do that a couple of times, okay, so to get used to the position. And then on this one, we're going to stay up. So when you do make sure that you don't flare the ribs. So don't press your arms down too much, just enough that you can feel that you're well anchored. Okay, so you're well anchored onto the floor. Now you're going to take your right leg, lift it up into tabletop. So this is the exercise we did in part 1. And then we roll down from the bridge and replace the foot. We go back into the bridge and then opposite leg and then roll down. Okay, so we always go up into the bridge with both feet down. Once you're up, you can raise one leg into tabletop, roll down with that leg staying in that same position. And then as soon as you're down from your bridge, you're replacing your foot. But the progression, of course, is to do that, but raise the leg vertically. So you're rolling down with the leg as straight as you can and as vertical as you can. The other key to this is keeping the back of the pelvis square with your mat. So use your arms and shoulders, use that supporting leg to help you find your balance. If you want an extra progression, when you roll down, so when the leg is vertical, flex the ankle. So you'll feel a really good stretch down the back of the leg if you can do that. Nice and slow. Last couple. Okay, so when you take the leg up, the toes are pointed. When you come down, the ankle is flexed. But we'll leave that there. We're going to give the knees a squeeze, circle them round, take a few nice deep breaths in and out. Good. And then we're going to place the feet back down on the floor and stay supine a little longer. Now, if you can float your arms by your sides, palms down, shoulders back and down, let's engage the core. Next out breath. Breathe in first. Exhale, navel in. Pelvic floor muscles zipped up. Let's hold them in place. Next time we exhale, just gently lift the head and shoulders and reach your fingertips forward. Okay, so try not to hunch your shoulders up. Keep them back and down. Make sure you're looking between the knees. Relax it down. We're going to go again. Exhale, lift. Fingertips toward the wall in front of you. Inhale, lower. So really get the core connection. Perfect. Nice and steady, using your abdominal muscles to help you flex the spine. So rather than your neck. Good. Now we're going to add another movement. Just bring one knee in as you raise your chest or raise your head and shoulders. So bring it towards you slowly. You're placing the foot back down when you relax your head down. Good. Nice and steady. Reaching the fingertips forward to encourage you to lift your upper body. Well done. We're just going to go for another couple to really get into those core muscles. Perfect. And then we're going to relax here. Relax your abdominals, so no need to keep the core engaged there. Just relax and breathe deeply. Let's get some oxygen flowing around the body. And now we're going to roll onto one side, do a little bit of work in side lying. So just roll onto one side so you can face the screen. You're going to take the bottom arm and lengthen it out so you can rest your head on the top of it. Top hand in front of your chest so your fingers are facing up. And you want to have your knees and feet together, but bring the knees forward and make sure your toes are in line with your tailbone. Okay, so you want a more or less neutral posture, so nice lengthened spine, but let's stack the hips, okay? So this top hip is going to go away from us. So just send it toward the end of your mat. So now the top hip is directly above the bottom one. And of course, we're going to engage the core, draw the navel in. You're going to lock that all in place. So part one, we did the clam where we raise the top knee up very gently and lower it down. Okay, so we exhale to lift. Inhale, lower. That bottom knee is just staying down. The hips are staying stacked and nice and still, so they're not wobbling backwards, or your pelvis isn't wobbling backwards. Now we're going to relax this here, and of course, add the progression. So it's to lift the feet, and you're going to do it from here. So you're suspending your feet, keeping them nice and still as you do the same movement, but we're keeping the pelvis in neutral. So you get a little bit more feeling, it's a bit more intense around the hip and toward the glute. You can feel that core activation. Last couple. Well done. And then last one. Perfect. And then bring your feet down. You're going to keep the legs just as they are, but pop your hands on the floor and make sure they're next to each other, sort of about shoulder width apart, fingers facing the top of the mat. Now we're just going to have a bit of a shell stretch, but slightly different. So lift your hips. See if you can sit back on your heels. Slowly, and you're going to stretch out the side of your body and toward the back of the pelvis. Just a couple of seconds there, and then you can walk your hands towards you. Brilliant, we're back in kneeling, and then we're going to go to the other end of the mat so we can lay on the opposite side. So you're still facing this same way. So lengthen out the bottom arm, top hand in front of the chest, fingers facing up. Let's lengthen through the spine. We're bending the knees and bringing them forwards, making sure the toes are more or less near your tailbone. And then also, of course, we need to stack the pelvis. So top hip, we send it slightly away from us. So we're stacking the hips. This one's on top of the bottom one. We draw the navel in and we're going for our clam. So breathing in first, exhale to raise the top knee, inhale, lower. So we're keeping the feet down, just get used to the movement, a nice, stable and still pelvis. Good. Couple more, then we're going to do it with the feet lifted so we can do our progression. So knees down first, keep the hips stacked, raise your feet, and when you're ready, exhale, lift, inhale, lower. So we want that lovely smooth movement. Good. Try not to let the movement be wobbly. It doesn't matter if it is, because you have just been lying on that same side as well. But the idea is that we're raising the knee as high as possible and we're looking for that lovely fine articulation of the hip joint. Anyway, two more and we're almost done. Lovely. And down with the knee and the feet. Keeping the legs as they are. You're then going to pop your hands on the floor again. So hands next to each other, fingers facing the top of the mat. And we're going to go for our shell stretch. Okay, so lifting the hips to try and sit back onto the heel. Lovely. Reach forward. And then walk your hands towards your knees. And then you can come to the middle of your mat, back into kneeling. Sit tall, but relax your arms. So give your shoulders a little bit of a roll and relax your arms. Perfect. Let's draw the navel in. Good. So we've got neutral, we've got the core engaged. We're just going to have some nice deep breaths, okay? Cleansing breaths for the end of the session. So reach up, breathe in here, and then exhale, relax. Good. And again, breathe in and relax on that exhale. Last one. And relax. Fantastic. Well done. Well done, especially if you made it to the end of the routine. So I really hope you enjoyed it and you got something from it. If you did, do leave me a comment. Let me know how you got on. And also if you're going to be joining me for part 3 as well. So same routine again, but more progressions as well. And just to say thanks for moving with me today. And I hope to see you again in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.